everybody, and welcome back to Pure Power Panda. Today we're talking about 10 super easy, effective tips you can use to quickly save money. Let's move on to my first tip for you, and that is to have an actual goal for what you're saving for. If you don't have a vision what your ultimate financial goal is, there's basically no point for you to save money, and then you just end up spending money because there's nothing to actually keep you from spending that money. So whatever you are saving for, maybe a house, an apartment, a car, the new PlayStation, whatever that might be, just be very specific about it and make sure that you yourself know this is what I'm saving my money for. I'm personally right now saving my money for a retro scooter. I've picked that out a while ago and now I've been saving, and that's definitely the reason why I wanted to make this video, because it's been going really great. Apart from having a definite goal of what you're saving for, you should also have some sort of budget plan, and that basically means that you know precisely how much money is coming in, how much money you have to be spending each month, and how much money you want to save each month. And a budget plan can be done super easy. You can just write it down on paper. You can have an app for that. This is what I use currently. You can also use free printables and put them in your planner. There are some really great ones on Etsy. Some people have the same income each month. For others it varies a little bit, but the point is to track everything, and then you need to sit down and think of all the things you have to spend money on each month. So that could be your rent, that could be your phone bill, maybe you have a pet and you need to buy cat food like me, and then you should also decide how much money you want to spend each month. I would go with a percentage from the income you have. So maybe you say I'll save 10% of my income each month. Maybe you can do 15, maybe you can do 20, it depends on your lifestyle, but make sure you have a set number for that. And once you get your money, just take that 10% or 15% and put it into your savings. And at the end of the month, when all of your bills have been paid and even the money went into savings and there's still money left, that extra money can also go into savings. So your savings are basically two parts. You have that one definite part that will always be saved, and then you have that little extra. My next tip is to have a separate savings account for the money you're saving. I have a savings account that's online, so whenever I get my money, I can just transfer it with the click of a few buttons. And once it's out of the way, you're so much less likely to spend that money because it's gone. And it actually hurts a little bit every time you want to withdraw something from your savings account, because you want to see the number grow, so you don't want to touch it and mess with that number. So it's always a good idea to have that separate, to have that out of reach. Now, when you are trying to save money, the first area you have to tackle, of course, is your spendings. And that is where you have to sit down and really identify, where is my money going? Like, what am I spending my money on? Maybe you are spending a lot of money on coffee and lunches each and every single day. Some of us like to get their nails done, and that costs another 50 bucks each month. Like, that's a lot of money you probably don't actually have to spend, because you can do a lot of these things yourself. For example, with the lunches, I always prepare my own lunch and I bring it to work, and that saves me a ton of money. It tastes way better, and of course it's super healthy. And if you are looking for tasty vegan lunch ideas, check out my 2 videos on that. And these are super easy, simple recipes you can just prepare at home the day before and bring to work and warm them up. And even with other things like I mentioned, like doing your nails. Have you ever considered doing that yourself? For example, these I did myself, and I just watched a few YouTube videos on people recommending like the best ways to do that. At the end of the day, this costs way less than going to a nail salon and getting that done. Now, apart from spending less, you could also sell some things in order to have more savings. Just take a good look around your apartment or room at all of the things that are there that you're not using, and just estimate how much they are worth. I just took a look at my closet just a while ago and I realized, man, like there is so much stuff I'm not wearing. And especially when it came to shoes, I had so many pairs of shoes, and honestly I wore some of them only 3 or 4 times, so they were in awesome condition, but I never used them. So that's just money lying around everywhere. So instead of just giving them away for free or giving them to friends, just try selling stuff online. And you can not only sell clothes and shoes online, you can even sell books, DVDs, games. And if you live in Germany, I can definitely recommend you the site Momox and the site Rebuy. Those are great sites to sell stuff on. I actually sold clothes and shoes and got 140 euros, and that went straight into my savings account. Next, I'll be selling a bunch of books, CDs I don't use, and I'm also thinking of selling an old camera. So that's a lot of cash that's coming in from stuff I'm not using. Now, the next thing you should do is rethink your attitude towards money and spending money. Just because you might be earning more now, or you got a pay raise, or you got a gift with a couple of $100s, does that mean you should be spending more money? Do you really need a new car or a bigger apartment just because you got a better job that pays better? Like, maybe having more money also means saving more money for something that's actually gonna be of more value to you. Because honestly, if you don't really need a bigger apartment but you just decide to get one because you can afford it, isn't that just a waste of money? Because you're only one person, you can only use so much space at one moment, so why have more rooms than you could ever use? Another great way to tackle this problem of spending too much money is to replace the word spend with invest. So when you're out at a store and you're looking at these shoes for 80 euros, instead of saying I'm gonna spend 80 euros on them, just say I'm gonna invest 80 euros in these shoes. So once you exchange the word spend with invest, you are forced to question the item's value to your life. Are 80 euro high heels really an investment in your life? But then again, you could also be looking at hiking boots for $200 and call that an investment because you love going on hikes and these shoes are gonna last you for 10-15 years. That is actually an investment, and it's okay to spend a little more money on that. And another great mind game you can play on yourself every time you want to spend money but you aren't sure if you should really do it, just imagine the item costing 3 times as much. So if you look at those high heels for 80 euros, would you still get them if they were to cost 240 euros? And if you do that with every single thing you want to buy, you are forced to question the value again. If I, for example, look at my computer and I imagine it would cost 3 times as much, I would probably still save the money up for it just because I really need a computer in my life. But if I go in a store and see a nice shirt and it costs 20 euros, and if I were to spend 60 euros on it, that doesn't really justify it, and I know I'm not gonna use it for that long, so maybe not. And since this channel gets most of its views from women all over the world, I also have to include the aspect of fashion and clothes and shopping for clothes, because no, you don't have to stop buying nice clothes. You can still look great but save money on the side. But how is this possible? I'll tell you. All you have to do is adapt a more minimalistic fashion style, and minimalism in fashion is actually the greatest invention ever because it means you own just a few key pieces with neutral colors that go well with everything else you own. Those are timeless pieces of high quality that suit you really well and that you can wear in 5 years too. So rather than following current trends or what's in and what's fashionable right now, just stick to pieces that really represent your personal style and that are of high quality and that match everything you already own. Now, and something else you should always remember is that having fun doesn't necessarily mean you have to spend a lot of money. Sometimes having fun can be very cheap or even for free. So for example, when my fiance and I like to go out for dinner, we don't always choose the most expensive 3 or 4 star restaurants where you have to dress up fancy and pay 50 to 100 euros for dinner for 2. No, we don't do that. We might go out and grab like a burrito in the city and then just take a nice walk and have a talk. Personally, I find this way more romantic and it has more value to me than sitting in an expensive restaurant. I'm not saying you should never splurge or never have something nice, but when your goal is to save money, you should really make an effort that you aren't always overspending, that you're actually trying to find ways to have fun without spending a lot of money. I'm sure wherever you live, you can go maybe to a nice park, you can go to a museum for free, you can see shows for free. And honestly, the favorite thing I like to do with Matthias is just go on walks, and yeah, and that is always for free. Of course, when you want to save money, the spending habit is something you really need to overcome, and that's probably the hardest thing, especially if you are a hardcore online shopper and you love online shopping. I love online shopping too, but one of the things I have found to work best is to rethink your purchases. This basically means every time you want to buy something, just throw it into your basket, but don't purchase it right away. Give yourself at least a day or two to rethink it and just ask yourself, do I really need this item? Like, what's the point of getting it? Maybe I own already something similar. I know sometimes there's the occasion where you look at something and you know you don't need it, but you just want to have it, and I say, you know what, get it, but in turn sell something similar that you don't use anymore or that you don't need anymore. I have one more final tip for you, and that is actually a very easy one that you can start doing right away. Get a little piggy bank, and every time you come home, just open up your wallet and look at the coins that are in there, or maybe like a $5 bill or €5 bill or whatever you have, whatever currency, and just put that in there, because honestly, $2-3, you're not gonna miss them. And by the end of the month, you would be surprised when you open this up how much money you can actually find in there. And whatever is in your little piggy bank, just put that into your savings right away. So these were all of my tips on how to save money really fast. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, because I do a lot of lifestyle related videos like this one. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and then I'll see you next week. Bye!